Hey guys, hope you and the families are doing well. If you want to improve your stock selection when you're trading breakouts and your timing of entries on breakouts, then I hope this video is going to help you. I'm going to take you through my entry in SNDK from Friday, the 14th of November, 2025. We've got SNDK overlaid with the triple Qs, so then I can teach you some of the nuances around stock selection and relative strength across multiple durations. Market Search are today's video sponsor. They're my go-to resource for analyzing company fundamentals. If you're interested in a discounted trial, then you'll find a link to that in the description and the comment section below. So let's get into the video. I'm going to give you a high level overview, then we'll start going into the weeds deep down the Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole. So here we go. We have SNDK, the daily chart in the top left. We have the triple Qs daily chart below that in the bottom left, and then we have the 5-minute chart for SNDK from the Friday the 14th of November, and then below that we have the 5-minute chart for the triple Qs. So let me just show you where the entry is, then we'll start going into some of the details. And I really want to keep this video focused on relative strength across multiple durations. So I'm going to show you and highlight the relative strength that SNDK was displaying on the daily chart. Got a couple of key dates there from November as well, the 4th, the 6th, the 7th, the 14th, and then the intraday relative strength that SNDK was showing on the 5-minute chart versus the triple Qs, and going green there on my 5-minute opening range breakout candle highlighter indicator thingy majingy, which worked really well just to draw my attention to those better breakout opportunities that could be forming in the market. Okay, so my entry is here. Okay, as this 5-minute candlestick starts to form and takes out the high of that opening 5-minute candlestick, that's an opening range breakout there on the 5-minute chart. Okay, so the entry is there, initial stop loss placement, low of the day, which is also just underneath this black line, which is the 10-day EMA. So you see this here on the daily chart, that's the 10-day EMA on the daily chart, and then it's plotted just there. You see that? Apologies about my cough. Been doing too many videos basically. I have a little cold as well. But there's the 10-day EMA. Okay, plotted right there. So my initial stop loss is just under low of the day, and it's just underneath the 10-day EMA as well. Really like that in terms of initial stop loss placement. So then in terms of the initial risk, that is 3.82% relative to a 20-day average daily range percentage of 10%. Okay, so it's less than half. It's actually approaching a third, isn't it? So I really like that as a risk metric when my initial stop loss on ORBs is a quarter, a third, or a half relative to the 20-day ADR percentage. Because what SNDK does is it actually runs from its lower day here and then tops out here at around about 15% on the day. So from the lower day to the higher day of 15%. Now that there is 1.5 times circa its 20-day average daily range percentage. So if you can gauge initial risk relative to the 20-day ADR percentage and keep it a quarter, a third, or a half, I think that can create much more asymmetric trading opportunities. I look to do that with Immorellos, with buy stop limit orders, with opening range breakouts. Okay, so that there is a little thing that I focus on. Now in terms, let's start on the daily chart. Actually, we'll come back to this 5-minute candlestick and the strength that this 5-minute candlestick was displaying versus the triple Qs in the opening 5-minute candlestick, and then why I was looking so closely at SNDK. But SNDK was already on my radar because of the strength that it was displaying on the daily chart. Now I have multiple monitors, so I'm watching about 80 to 100 stocks live during the session, what I deem are leaders. I may put them together in terms of like groups and themes. I may have like the precious metal miners over there. I may have some of the TMLs like your Micron, your SNDK, your PLTRs, your Robinhoods, your SoFis of the world over here. So then I can be watching those really closely. But SNDK was doing something very interesting on the daily chart. So this is what I try and dial in on, okay? If we take a look at the 4th. So this is the 4th of November here, okay? And as I said, the black line is the 10-day EMA on my chart. The blue line is the 21-day EMA. The purple is the 50-day. And the grey is a 65-day EMA. Okay, so 10, 21, 50, 65 day. Okay, so if you take a look at the 4th of November, well, what does SNDK do? And you may think, well, it just kind of like gaps down. So the prior close is obviously up here, it gaps down here. There's a little kind of what I call a demand tail, holds the 10-day EMA. Now, is that relevant? Is that not relevant? Well, much of it depends. Well, what did it do versus the major index, the applicable major index? In this instance, it's going to be the triple Qs, okay, because more tech orientated. So what did the triple Qs do on the 4th? And then hopefully a couple of light bulb moments start to go off and you'll be like, oh, well, that's interesting. So let's put an arrow there for the 4th, and let's put an arrow here for the 4th for the triple Qs. Or what do you see for the triple Qs? Well, the triple Qs is a much more ugly bar. Look at this here. The prior close is up here. It gaps down, okay, opens here, actually tries to rally and reclaim the 10-day EMA, and then it's a weak close down here. So the triple Qs did that, whilst SNDK did that. What's stronger? what's showing you relative strength versus the other? SNDK is stronger. So if you just look at that bar in isolation, you may go, it's not a particularly bullish bar. I would agree. It's not a bad little bar, little gap down reverse off the 10-day EMA, but I wouldn't say it's a really bullish bar like this. But when you look at this relative, so that's why it's relative strength compared to this for the triple Qs, you go, SNDK showing some strength there. Now we get a further sign of strength on the 6th. Okay, so let's now just move these arrows. Don't need to move that. There we go. Let's grab this arrow and now let's point that to the 6th. So we're going to do the same analysis here for the 6th, and I'm just going to turn this like this. So let's start off with SNDK again. So if you look at SNDK and you look at that bar there on the 6th, you'd go, it's actually a fairly bearish bar, isn't it? Like it tried to break out of this little range in here, prior session's high, and it failed to do that. It's a supply shoot, pretty weak close. I wouldn't say it's a bullish bar, would you? But if we look at this in contrast to what the triple Qs did on the 6th of November, look at that for the triple Qs. So the triple Qs opens essentially on the high of the day, goes out, loses the 10-day, loses the 21-day, closes below the prior session's low, and closes all the way down here. Look at that bar relative to that bar. This is now, given the context of the 6th of November, SNDK doing this versus the triple Qs doing that, SNDK is showing so much relative strength that we started to pick up on here, and just the steady uptrend it's been in. So 2 of these 3 sessions is showing us a lot of strength. And now we get further strength that comes through on the 7th. Look at the 7th. This is in reaction to its earnings. The triple Q here gaps down, does a big what I call shakeout to Martel, though Immorellos galore. If you like Immorellos, I just wrote a new indicator on TradingView as well. It was Immorellos galore on the 7th of November as the triple Qs comes down here flush. There were so many opportunities on the 14th as well with this big gap down reverse bar, as I'm showing you here with SNDK. But the triple Qs does this on the 7th. Okay, it gaps down, opens here, flush like that, and then rips into the close. Then a nice strong close. Okay, we like that. But what did SNDK, look at the strength. Look at this bar. It's breaking out in reaction to earnings when the triple Qs is doing that. Opens on the low, push, go off the 10th, strong close. Look at the strength. 1, 2, 3. Strong. And then what we could even do is we could go look at the 13th as well. Look at the 13th. I'll just circle it. Look at this bar here for the Qs. Loses the 10, loses the 21, closes below the prior 3 sessions lows, goes out all the way down here. So it's lost the 10, it's lost the 21. Whereas SNDK holds the 10. The strongest stocks hold their 10-day EMA. See how it holds the 10, it holds the 10, it holds the 10, it holds the 10. On the 14th, it holds the 10. Look at that strength on the 13th. You see it? Strength on the daily chart. Micron, really similar example of this as well. Those two very closely linked in terms of AI infrastructure. So that's there what I'm looking at on the daily chart. I'm going, SNDK is so strong. So now can we marry up and get relative strength across multiple durations? We can see that SNDK is really strong on the daily chart. Now can I pinpoint an entry in what is a choppy market? Look at this. Back and forth chop. Can I pinpoint an entry in one of the leading TML type stocks that also has an ADR of over 10%? Here we go. So then on the 5-minute chart, okay, so I have multiple monitors, talk about this on my platform a lot, how I set it up. I have multiple monitors watching around about 80 to 100 stocks live. So what I then see on Friday, and you can go look at a chart of MU, exactly the same basically. Look really strong. So then there's group theme confirmation as well. So what does SNDK do? Opens essentially on the low of that 5-minute candlestick, closed on the high of that 5-minute candlestick, while the triple Qs is doing that. So now not only are we getting relative strength and a lot of relative strength on the daily chart, we're getting the intraday relative strength. So what you'll tend to see when stocks go on big moves intraday is they will display a lot of intraday relative strength early on in the session. So boom, the entry is right there, the stop loss is there, favorable initial risk relative to the 20-day ADR percentage. Like that there, just pinpointing entries. Okay, so that's why I really like the ORB. That's why I wrote this indicator as well, just to help train my pattern recognition or help alert me to potential opportunities like SNDK during Friday session, MU being another one. Really nice. entry on NU as well. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed that video. It's helped you understand a little bit more about piecing together relative strength, looking on the daily chart, looking on the intraday chart as well, and then pinpoint dial in on those standout leading stocks in the market. Thank you very much for watching the video, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in a future video.